Hello, my name is Moby, and this is my attempt at It Gets Better, a video. With the recent suicides and the news and a lot of the attention that's come with that, I wasn't really sure I was going to do this video. I can't offer um, the sensationalism that comes from being someone who's famous, who's out. I can't offer the notoriety that comes with that sort of behavior or that sort of stardom. But what I can offer is a wholesome, truthful story of my own, some of my own events coming out, and my own brush with suicide, and hope that anyone or everyone who watches this video can gain strength from it and realize that it truly does get better. There is hope, and don't give in to the despair. So, I am almost 40. I never actually thought I would see this age. I grew up in a very rural area. My closest neighbor when I grew up was probably 6 miles in either direction, and between me and my neighbors was nothing but piney woods. So to say that I grew up somewhat isolated is a bit of an understatement. Um, I realized that there was something different about me actually very, very early on. I have memories of even back as far as being 5 years old where I just seemed to uniquely look at things differently. I was always different. I wasn't what you considered a sissy boy. I never wanted to play with the girls. Not that I think there's anything wrong with that, but it just wasn't what I was. Uh, Around my 12th birthday, I started getting an inkling of what was going on. There was no internet back then. I know that's a shocker. There was no Facebook. There was no Twitter. There was no social networking. There wasn't even AOL back then. There was no instant messaging, nothing. I grew up very, very isolated. There was no one for me to confide in. There was no one for me to talk to. And at that moment in my life, I felt completely alone. Um, I had a real bad family life. My foster mother died when I was very young. My father remarried a woman that I routinely referred to as Satan in drag. She hated me from day one. She not only tormented me physically but mentally from the date that she married my father until I left home, and then she passed away years later. So she's no longer in this world. Um, Childhood was pretty rough. I was picked on not so much because I was perceived as gay, but because I was perceived as different. I was very skinny, not frail, but just not a big boy. I was very, very, very skinny. Um, I looked at things differently, and I think that children have a unique way of picking up on differences in each other, and unfortunately, children tend to be cruel. As I progressed through high school, the differences became more and more pronounced. As my sexuality hit, I realized that I was different. There were things about me that I was attracted to, i.e., men, that I knew wasn't the norm. I knew it wasn't something that was considered acceptable. I had heard about, faggots and queers and, sissy boys and gays pretty much most of my life, and all of it was derogatory. The only real world experiences I had with someone that was gay were very stereotypical people that were pretty much made fun of and ridiculed wherever they went. I wish then that I had the ability to reach out to people like we do now in this day and age. I wish that I had someone to confide in. I wish that there had been someone, anyone that I could share my pain and my fears with. And it was pretty hard. I promised myself I wasn't going to cry, but I can be pretty emotional, and I left home very early. Um, I felt very alone, very isolated in the world. I showed up at a friend's house. We got our dates mixed up, and he wasn't home, and he lived on a beach. And so I decided to go out to the beach and just think things over. And when I got to the beach, I couldn't shake the idea of, if I walked out in the water, who would miss me? And for the life of me, I couldn't come up with a single person by name that would miss me if I didn't come back out of the water. And at that moment, I had every intention of ending my own life and abandoning the pain and the misery that seemed to follow me as a child. I am grateful that I didn't make that decision. Something happened that touched me to my core, and it made me want to live. That moment changed my life. It changed a big part of who I was. I went out into the world at that point, and I moved on with my life. I spent 2 years being homeless. I did things that I'm not proud of today to survive, but I did survive. And I have reached a point in my life now where I'm not by any means wealthy, but I can take care of myself. My bills are paid. I have a wonderful partner. We just celebrated our first year together. I adore him more than he'll ever know. And had I given up on myself and allowed the hate and the anger and the fear that people who don't know what it's like to be different put on us, I would have missed out on so much. Yeah, my life was hard. There were lots of places that were very, very difficult. But I have made so many wonderful friends in this world that I consider family. I have a very strong, close network of friends that I love to death, and I would do anything for them. And I know that they would do anything for me. So I just want anyone out there that sees this video to know that you are not alone. You are not an abomination. And if you do believe in God, you are not hated by God. You and I have the unique understanding of knowing that we don't choose to be this way. We don't choose to be alienated from everyone we know and love in an effort to live a lifestyle. We are born this way. This is who we are. It's a fundamental part of who we are. It doesn't have to define us, but we can't change it. And you shouldn't have to. So I just want anyone who sees this to know that you're loved, know that you are not alone, and know that there are others out there who can relate and who understand what you're going through. All you have to do is reach out, and someone will be there. Thank you for listening.